We're live. Welcome from all around the globe. Let me know what city, let me know what country you're tuning into this live stream today. Get people from North America down here to Australia. We get people from all over the globe. I love connecting with you. We've got the great Aaron, as always. Say hi to Aaron, who is moderating the chat. You can let Aaron know any specific questions that you have for me during the live. Aaron will take your questions. He will deliver it to me here down on my screen, and I'll answer some of the questions that you've got during our time together today. I want to hear where you're from. Aaron will let me know some of the people and where they are joining me from. Let me know your name. Let Aaron know your name. We're here to connect. That's what I love about doing these things live. Can you hear my Siri in the background? Is that we get an opportunity to actually connect in real time. You simply just cannot do that when you are doing a recorded video unless you're just going into the comments. And although I do that on the replays, I do connect with you there as well. I'd much rather the synergy and the energy of doing these live. So we have people joining from all over. Aaron, where have we got some people from? Let me know their names. We've got Detroit, Michigan. We've got Noah. Welcome to you. And we have London, England, I know. We have Miami, Florida. Welcome to you. Monica, great to see you. Thanks for tuning in and watching this. I'm going to talk about something that is the most powerful force in the universe. Who can guess what that is? The most powerful force in this universe. And while you're putting that in the comments, this most powerful force has the ability to transform every aspect of our life. In fact, it is synonymous with the law of attraction. The law of attraction is the law of, you guessed it, the law of love. What we put out comes back to us. Our thoughts go out and create the things of our life. When you're focused on all of the unwanted aspects of your life, you see more unwanted aspects come back to you. Most of the time we don't talk about what we love. We talk about what we dislike. We talk about the problems in our lives, the things that are going wrong. Do you know that what we focus on expands? What we say, we're saying really to the universe to bring us more of that. I always see when I communicate with people that generally they are talking about what they don't want in their life. I want to encourage you to do things differently. Because I understand, and I hope some of you that have watched me enough know that we create our reality. We create our reality by what we focus on. What we focus on expands and becomes our experience. This is why you've got to talk about what you love. The more you talk about what you love, the more the universe will bring things to you for you to love. And we all have things in our life that we can be grateful for, that we can love. I did this little practice yesterday when I was going to the supermarket. As I was driving and making my way to the supermarket, I was talking about everything that I loved in that experience. I talked about the fact that I loved the car I got to drive. It was pouring with rain. Most people would see that as vastly negative, rather than seeing that as a deterrent. And I obviously had to drive a little bit slower because it was coming down pretty heavy. I spoke and focused on how the rain was nourishing all of the parks in my area that I enjoy and that I love. Our perspective is what is going to set into motion what we experience. See, most of the time people don't like their life. They complain, they talk about what they don't like, and then they wonder why more of those things come to them. We don't get what you want. You don't get what you want. I don't get what I want. I and you, we get what we are. All the universe does is reflect back to you that which you are and that which I am. There's a great example of love in the movie Forrest Gump, one of my favorite films. I would imagine most of you watching this have seen that film. Those that remember the film will remember that the character of Forrest has extreme limitation. In fact, a lot of people see him as simple. They write him off. And yet the love of his mother demonstrates enormous sacrifice, enormous dedication, enormous belief through the power of love that he can overcome, that he can succeed, that he can create meaning in his life. And boy, does that movie show us what someone that most people wrote off as simple to achieve profound things. The final scene in which Sally Field, playing Forrest's mother in the movie, she says something very impactful to Forrest on that deathbed. She said, "You have to do the best with what God gave you." I love those closing words in that scene that she shared with him. You have to do the best with what you have. You have to do the best with what you have. You might see yourself as limited. In fact, you may have limitation in your life like Forrest did. But you know what? Forrest defied the odds to achieve greatness because he believed that he could. His mother believed that he had an ability, and even when she passed over, she knew he would be fine because she believed in him. There are people in your life that believe in you. There is this great force in the universe called love that will carry you to places that you couldn't dream of ever going. See, love is the most powerful and potent force in the universe. And that force exists within you. That force emanates from you. That force you can tap into. It will take you to places you couldn't dream of. You know, when I started my journey in communicating and doing these lives, I had people tell me that I didn't have what it takes. I wasn't good enough. I was a Forrest Gump. No one was going to listen to me. If I had believed what those people had said, I would have given up after the first or second, third time that I communicated. And yet, here I am, sharing with you, and you can go through my feed and see countless messages. You see, I didn't give up when people said I didn't have what it took. There are those that went before me that people said, "You'll never be like that person. You don't have those skill sets. You don't have that charisma. You don't have the same effect on people." And I agree with them. Because you know what I agree with? Every generation, life gets better. We expand upon the generation that has gone before, and we expand upon it. Of course, I am not limited to somebody else. I'm expansive. I'm infinite awareness. I'm not this human being that you're seeing and hearing, communicating. I'm just having that experience. I'm using a mind, I'm using a body to communicate, but I am infinite awareness that is perceiving and having this experience. And guess what? So are you. If you are infinite awareness, if you are limitless, why are you then identifying with, and through your mind, which is only a tool, with a limited aspect? Perhaps like me, someone said to you that you didn't have what it took, that you didn't have charisma, that you didn't have the ability. The only person that can stop me is me. The only person that can stop you is you. Your thoughts, although they're not powerful in themselves, they're powerful because you are powerful. And what you give your attention to expands and becomes powerful. See, if we give our attention to thoughts, which aren't you, by the way, they are just there in the atmosphere, and we attach ourselves, we identify with them, we are not them. You are the infinite awareness that is perceiving them. But what you give your attention to expands. What you give your attention to becomes powerful because you are powerful. Do you see how this works? We are creating our reality with every thought we identify with every word we believe, with the energy in which we admit. We are creating this reality. And you can create a limited version of yourself. You can believe what others say about you. You can believe that those things that people have put on you, projected on you, have said you don't have what it takes, that you haven't got what it takes, that they don't like you, that they don't resonate with you. Or you can believe in yourself. You can believe that you are greater than what they say. You believe that you have this force within you, the most powerful force in the universe, love operating through you. And when you identify with that, nothing will be impossible for you. See, I used to identify with a shy, introspective version of myself. I didn't believe I had what it took. The moment that I disidentified with that aspect of myself, and I identified with a much higher aspect, I went from elevation to elevation. I used the law of attraction to elevate and magnetize to me all of the things that I wanted to attract. You see, love is a magnet. And when you put and project out love, you will magnetize back to you relationships that are aligned with love, situations that are aligned with love. You will draw to yourself a love energy, a love vibration. See, this is how it works. When you tune into a radio station, perhaps it's 89.9, that's a frequency. When you're tuned in to the frequency of love, guess what you get back? And when you're tuned into a lower frequency, perhaps it's fear, anxiety, depression, that's what you get back. Now, only we can be responsible for what we are attuned to. Only we can be responsible for our own vibration. I can't turn your dial as much as you can turn on mine. We have to do the work for ourselves. This is why my work exists, to encourage you, to inspire you, to remind you that you have the power within you. Say that after me. I've got the power within me. All right, let's take a moment now to just connect with, and great to see you, Soren. We, I wish I could thank all of you when I do this in real time, and perhaps in the future we'll have multiple screens behind me so I can see in real time those people and read at the same time I'm communicating. But I always read every single comment that comes in after I finish doing this, and I see how much love that you pour out to me, and I send it back to you. So although I can't connect with all of you, hello to Soren, and we have Amanda and Devon, and we have people joining from India and Iraq, and we have Sydney, Australia, and Melbourne, Australia. We've got people coming in from different platforms on social media here as well, which is great. All right, we have a question from Henry. And if you've got a question, you can type it now in the comments, and Aaron will let me know what your question is. We've got quite some time. We've got about 40 minutes left, 30, 40 minutes. We're going to have plenty of time to answer questions. But Henry asks, how does visualization play a role in the process of manifestation? What we visualize, what we see in here, we are creating out there. When we form a belief, although the belief could be true or not, we create from the level of the mental plane or belief. When you project something, life reflects it back to you. If you are projecting lack, limitation, fear, life will mirror back to you more to fear about, more scarcity, more lack, more limitation. We're visualizing all of the time. Some people say, Paul, I can't visualize. I don't know what you mean. I think when people say that, they don't quite know what I mean. When I talk about visualization, we're doing it all the time. When I drive in the car, often I'll visualize myself being at the event I'm going to. I'll see the surroundings. I'll see and play out the conversations I'm going to have with the individuals. We're always visualizing. We often see it in symbols. We'll often play out conversations in our mind. And well, when people do this unconsciously, they do it in the negative context. They play out the disasters. They play out all of the worst case scenarios. And then they wonder why those things manifest. There is focused visualization when you create and cultivate a practice. This is one of the things I encourage a lot of you to do, is to write down some of the things that you want to create. When you write it down, why don't you, as a practice, start to imagine in your mind what you've written down playing out? It might be manifesting a new car. Why don't you write the specific requirements of what you want in that car? It might be leather seats, a black car, a certain model car. Then you can start to visualize it. What has been really helpful to me in the past when I'm visualizing a specific thing, I'll get familiar with that thing. I might go and test drive the car. I'm smelling the leather seats. I'm seeing the car. I'm getting used to the instrumentation in the car. The more familiar, the clearer you see it, the easier it is for you to visualize it. I work with people that want to manifest new homes, and what they do is they go to open for inspections. They look at all of the homes that they would love to live in. And they become so familiar with what it feels like, and to experience it becomes easier for them to visualize. We all have this ability. Everybody does and can visualize. Those that are doing it regularly, of course, become better at the practice. Aaron, what is our next question? I want to move into the subject of talking about creation and love and the power that love has in creation. But let's, Aaron, get to the next question before I delve deeper into that. Because once I get started with that, I tend to get stirred up and I'll probably lose track of the question. So I'm consciously trying to focus more on getting as many of your questions answered today, because that's important to me. I want you to feel that you can have your questions answered. Aaron, what is our next question? And this is from Lucy. Hello to you, Lucy. Can I manifest specific... Can manifestation be tied to a specific religious or spiritual belief, is the question for Lucy. It doesn't matter what our traditions are. I was raised a Christian. Some of you have been raised with other wisdom traditions, other spiritual traditions. It doesn't really matter. What's really interesting, a lot of these principles are spoken about in a lot of the ancient texts. There is a lot spoken about creating with the power of the words. In fact, the Old Testament talks about God creating the world with the word, speaking worlds or the world into existence, the power of words, the power of thoughts. It's all throughout the ancient text. It doesn't matter where you've come from, and you don't need to change your religion if you are identified with a specific religion. I was raised a Christian, and although I'm not a practicing churchgoer, I still hold true a lot of the values, a lot of the lessons that I gained from that wisdom tradition. I've also studied other religions and gained great information and wisdom from those as well. So Lucy, it doesn't really matter when it comes to manifestation. We got people joining from Sri Lanka. Welcome to you from beautiful Sri Lanka. Someone has asked, does Dolores Canon connect with you and give you downloads all of the time? I was only touching on it before, that I believe that we live in a universe that's expansive. Dolores Canon laid certain foundations. It did not end with her. In fact, with every generation, the impulse of the universe is for expansion, to build upon. I'm not limited. Those people that said, you'll never be Dolores Canon, I agree with you. I don't want to be somebody of another generation. I'm of a new generation. I'm building, I'm expanding. We aren't limited to the past. We're not limited, although how wonderful. And don't get me wrong, I celebrate the legacy of Dolores Canon. In fact, I'm always sharing her content. I'm always talking about what she taught me as her student. But it does not end there. It does not stagnate there. We live in an evolving universe. We expand upon the wisdom of the past, of people that have passed on. And yes, we get lots of messages, being me and other people that were associated, that were taught by her. She's communicating with us all of the time. When you understand that death is just an illusion anyway, Dolores said it's like throwing off a set of shoes or clothing. There is no death. It's just a discardment of the human form, the human mind. We are infinite awareness. Your body, your mind is like a vehicle, and you are the driver of that vehicle. When that vehicle has run out of mileage or done too much mileage or is starting to rust, you will trade it in inevitably and get a new one. And that is exactly what it is like when we transition into the non-physical. Now, of course, we can have communication with our loved ones, with our guides, with our angels that are not physically incarnate. You can't have communication, though, there's a caveat to this, unless you give them permission to intervene. You have a free will. They will not intervene unless you specifically give them permission to do so. Boy, do they love to come in and communicate and give you downloads and give you messages when you are inviting them in. And not only does Dolores Canon guide me, but countless others on what I call my spirit team give me wisdom, give me information, give me content to share with you, because we operate as a team. Let me know in the comments, who is it that you communicate with? Are they your loved ones? Do you know your spirit guides' names? Do you refer to them by specific names? Do you get messages? I want to hear from some of you. Let me know in the comments, and Aaron will let me know. Soren, who has been a member 6 months, you know, there are a very small amount of people that support me in this work. You know, I love to do this so much. In fact, I'm so dedicated to this that I spend all of my money that I earn from doing my one-on-one clients, getting all of this equipment and all of the graphics and everything you see, all of the sound and all of the production is costly to do so. And I give that to you as my gift. I give you these at least 4 days a week of teaching and inspiration and encouragement. I give it to you as a gift. And there is a very small amount of people that partner with me, Soren being one of them. For 6 months, he's partnered with me to make and to support me into serving and giving to you. What we give out, we get back. See, when you're stingy with the universe is going to be stingy with you. I don't give to get. I give because I understand that by me giving, I receive. Because we live in not only a magnetic universe. I coined this phrase, we live in a reflective universe. The universe will reflect back to you that in which you are giving to it. If you are stingy, the universe is going to be stingy with you. If you are doubtful and pessimistic, you will have people, situations, and things show up in your experience to be pessimistic about, to be negative about. What you give out is reflected back to you as your life experience. We are right at the halfway point. We take a short break at this point, then we come back. We'll have more questions. I'll see you right after this little break. Okay, welcome back. And there are some notes I just have to get to today, so forgive me when I look down because there's some stuff that I want to make sure that I cover, and we've got lots of questions here in the chat as well. I want to get to those questions. We've got about half an hour or so before we end this, so I'm going to get to as much as I can. When you send out a vibration, when you send out a frequency, it's like an echo coming back to you. The universe is going to echo that which you are putting out. If you are putting out a lot of negativity, a lot of negative thoughts, negativity is going to be echoed back to you. It'll be echoed back to you in the form of relationships, in the form of your finances, in the form of all of the conditions of your life. Now you get to choose what you focus on. If rather than and we all have negative things that happen. I'm not talking about denialism. In fact, Carl Jung coined this phrase, what you resist persists anyway. The last thing I recommend is resisting anything that is negative in your experience. I would rather advise that you embrace the negativity. You embrace the illness. You embrace all of the unwanted aspects of your life. By you embracing and releasing resistance, what you're doing is you're allowing it to dissolve as infinite awareness that has the power to dissolve anything. But what you will resist will persist, because what you're saying is, I don't want this. By you resisting, you're giving out a frequency to the universe, and it is communicating back with you more of that. Say what I resist persists. Perhaps you have an illness in your body and you've been resisting it. You've been taking pain medication and resisting it. By you resisting it, you're causing it to persist, to even progress and become worse. That's why I say to those that are unwell, that are experiencing illness in their body, is to accept and to embrace the perceived unwanted conditions of our life. Only through acceptance are we allowing for it to dissolve, and we can experience healing. We can experience abundance from a place of lack and limitation. But you have to focus on what you want. When we focus on things like gratitude, what the universe does, it brings back to you more to be grateful for. That's why I encourage a lot of you to record a gratitude journal of some kind. It might be a daily list of, I do this. I write down 10 things that I'm grateful for that I have. I have a gratitude rock that I hold. And when I hold that gratitude rock, I send out that vibration of gratitude every time I have something to be grateful for. Every time I pick up that rock that lies by my bedside, I feel the energy of gratitude. I attract, I am magnetized back to myself more to be grateful for. We get what we put out. Say, I get what I put out. If it's negative thoughts, if it's negative thinking, if it's lack, if it's worry, if it's stress, you are signaling to the universe not to bring less of that to you, not to take it away from you. You are signaling unconsciously to bring more of that to you. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. You get at what frequency you are vibrating at. Now, Dolores Canon taught us this. Let's draw upon some of her wisdom here. If we don't like our life, we don't like the conditions of our life, you can change it any time you want, because you are writing the script. You are the director. You are the main actor in your own play. If you don't like the way it's going, you can change it any time you want. To build upon that, Shakespeare said something similar, that life is a stage. We are actors playing out these roles. We have our entrances and our exits. See, this is one big illusion, that infinite awareness comes to experience so that it can expand. It's ever expanding. Infinite awareness is infinite, so it's always growing and expanding. We learn. How do we learn? Through experience. We learn, we expand, we grow from experience. So we come here on earth to experience. What do we experience when we're limited to a physical body? When we're limited to a mind, we experience lack, limitation. A part of this experience, and many of you have had this, some of you will not know what I am talking about and think it's crazy, and that is okay. But we are here to learn to wake up from the dream, from the illusion. Now, if you're still asleep and you hear that, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. People who live great lives focus on what they love more than what they don't love. If you are focused and you are grateful for all that you have, it is impossible for the universe to bring you more negativity and more of what you don't want. If you are outweighing your thoughts, if you're tipping the scales with more of what you do want than what you don't want, you're inevitably going to bring more of what you want. This is why every thought we think is creating our reality. Now, it doesn't mean that every single thought that you identify with has to be positive in order for you to manifest a positive reality. But you do need to tip the scales. You need to have more thoughts of love. You need to have more thoughts of positivity. You need to be having more thoughts of what you want than what you don't want in order to get more of that. See, for most people, they talk about what they don't want. They talk about what they don't love. They talk about the absence of love. They talk about fear, and all of those things constantly flow into their life because that is what they're giving their attention to. What you give your attention to expands. If you want more love in your life, if you want more abundance in your life, if you want more joy in your life, you have to be on that frequency. See, your natural state is joy. As infinite awareness, your natural state is to experience, and you are joy. Now, people hear that and they think, God, there's nothing further from the truth. For me, because I rarely experience joy, maybe a few times a year something might go right for me and I feel good. So you've got to cultivate that. You have to create it for yourself. We don't get joy out there somewhere. We don't get happiness out there somewhere. We certainly try, don't we, in acquisition, relationship, experience. I call it people, places, and things. We try to get externally. And sure, it lasts for a fleeting moment until we return to the same state of despair, disease, or lack. And then we look for it in something else, another relationship that was that person's fault, or perhaps this time I'll feel better. Jesus taught this, the Buddha taught this. Jesus said that the kingdom of heaven is within you. What does that mean? Joy, peace, happiness. It's in you. But for you to experience, you have to create it for yourself, because you are the creator of your life. You are creating every part of it. You're writing the script. You're the main actor and you are the director. You're also the producer. This is your creation. And see, it takes responsibility to accept that, doesn't it? It's far easier to believe that this is just hocus pocus, that this doesn't work, that this is just positive thinking and it doesn't have any real basis in empirical evidence, and you can't prove it anyway. I wrote a whole book about neuroplasticity and how thoughts create things according to the foundations of neuroscience, the foundations of quantum physics, quantum mechanics, that are giving the evidence, that are giving the time and the research and the studies into doing this. In fact, there were studies done in Japan years ago that proved that thoughts affected particles. There are experiments that were done that showed that our thoughts and our emotions had an effect on the molecular structure of water. Who knows what I'm talking about? Let me know in the comments. See, this is how powerful you are. You affect everything, not just water, but everything that is physical. Because you are energy. Everything is energy. You are creating everything in your life. Illness is energy. Money is energy. Everything physical is energy. We don't operate, we don't live in a universe of solid matter. We are energy. And we can create anything we want, good, bad, or indifferent. The question is for you, is are you creating consciously? Or are you leaving it to chance? Are you identifying, are you focusing on all of the unwanted thoughts and emotions? And are you magnetizing them to you? See, Dolores Canon taught us this. There is no good and there is no bad. There is just positive and negative energy. We're either focused on predominantly one or the other, and then we tip the scales. What you're predominantly focused on, either good or negative, is what you get in your life. You're either creating a positive life or you're experiencing a negative one, depending on your thoughts and the way you feel. Emotions play a big part. See, the way we feel is a direct result of what we've been thinking. You can't be having a whole lot of positive thoughts and be feeling bad. Your feelings are a direct result of what you have been focused on. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that is perceiving them. And as infinite awareness, it is your choice and responsibility what you give attention to. See, thoughts are like clouds in the sky. They just come and they go. We aren't our thoughts. Now, of course, we choose to identify with them, don't we? Like we identify with our physical mind, our physical body, and we believe in the illusion so much that we believe we are it. And that for those that have had any kind of spiritual awakening will realize that they are not their mind. They have a mind. They have a body. When you identify with the limitless, I am infinite awareness, there is nothing that is impossible for you. We build upon the legacy. We honor the legacy of Dolores Canon and those that have gone before us. But we aren't limited to just be at that level. We are learning and expanding because the very essence and nature of this reality is expansion. I don't stop there. I keep going. I'm going to the next level. And if I'm going to the next level, I hope you're coming with me. I know I've got Aaron and Soren and Amanda, and I've got Amelia. I've got Monica. We're moving there. We're shifting because we're creating it. If you want to stay in negativity, that is absolutely your fundamental human right to choose any experience that you have. That is the wonderful thing about free will. We get to choose. We either get to choose whether we're creating a wonderful reality or we choose whether we're having an awful nightmare. We're living in a time now where there is people that are experiencing terrible nightmares because they're having terrible thoughts. They identify so much with the tangible world. They believe it wholeheartedly. In fact, they give all their energy to politics. They give all their energy to religion. They give all their energy to nationality. They believe in segregation, us versus them, good and bad, all of these illusions that people subscribe to and believe that are real. In fact, people do this all the time because I get the emails. They believe that people out there somewhere that they don't even know, that are a part of some group somewhere, have power over them. And by their own belief, they give that group power. They believe that this group has power, and through their belief, that group gains power because those people give it to them. That's why I don't subscribe to any power outside of myself. I am limitless consciousness. I'm limitless awareness that has a mind, that has a body that I operate through. And nobody can stop me unless I believe that they have power over me. Let me get to the next question because I want to make sure I get to a few more questions before we end today. All right, Aaron, we've got hello to Tammy and Soren and Kelly and Erica. Welcome to you. Lovely to see all these beautiful people that come back time and time again. When we put this in and we program our thinking to this way of living, this way of identification, these people like Soren and Kelly and Tammy that show up time and time again, and Aaron that's there in the chat, these are the people that are transforming their life. And I'm getting emails every day from people that are telling me about all of the wonderful breakthroughs. You know, I get letters, I get emails from people, you know, who are just transforming their lives because they're starting to understand they're creating their life. Lisa shared this with me, that she wanted so much to manifest a perfect relationship. The moment she stopped putting out trying energy, trying to manifest that relationship and believe she had it, she started to make room in her house actually for that partner. She used to sleep in the middle of her bed, and she started strategically laying on the left side of the bed to make room that her partner, she picked out that her partner would lay on the right side of the bed. She started to act and organize her home according to having a partner there. She made room in her wardrobe. She donated a whole lot of stuff that she didn't need anymore. And you know what? Within a few months, she had manifested the perfect partner. Very soon he moved in with her, and now they're happy together. How did she do that? How did she have the power to do that? Because she created it. She made room because she knew that he was coming. She knew he was on the way. She knew that she had to get used to sleeping on the other side of the bed and not in the middle, because that's the way her life was going to be. She needed room in her closet for his clothing. She needed room in the cabinetry behind the mirror in her bathroom for him to have his toiletries. Say, I create my reality. See, when you believe this, you go from a place of not just belief, you go to a place of knowing. And knowing is the highest form of manifestation. I tell you what, when you know something, there's no one in this world that can talk you out of it. When you know you are worthy, when you know you are confident, no one can talk you out of it. You'll probably even laugh when they try. You know, I'll tell you this because I didn't always believe this about myself, and I'll take a sip of water before I do this, all right? I didn't used to believe that I was confident. I used to believe I was shy. I believed I was introspective. You know what? I went from a place of believing I was shy to then believing that I wasn't shy anymore. When I started to believe that, like when I was shy, I had all of this evidence in my experience that proved to me I was shy. And then I pivoted and I started to see myself differently, as confident, as articulate, as charismatic, as passionate. And then I began to see, like the emails I get and the feedback I get from you, all the evidence that showed me that I wasn't shy, that I was confident. Then, and this is really important, you move from a place of belief to a place of knowing. I know I'm confident. There's not a person that can write a message to me that's going to bring me down. There's no one that's ever going to stop me from with their negativity, because I know this is my soul's purpose, and I know I'm confident. It doesn't matter if I have a good day or a bad day. It doesn't matter if I misspeak or say the right thing. I know. Therefore, I am. What is it for you? What is it for you that you've believed about yourself that is limiting? Perhaps someone told you once that you weren't good enough, that you didn't have what it took, that you don't have what it takes. The only reason that you're experiencing the lack, the limitation, is because you believed it. The moment you cease to believe, you can create anything you want. When you move from a place of believing one thing to believing another thing, then you will move to a place of knowing. When you know, it's yours. That is the point of manifestation. It is impossible not to manifest from a place of knowing. Let me tell you some things. I'll close with this. And I don't say this to build myself up. I say this to encourage and build you up, because I want you to rise to this level. I want you to disidentify with your lack. I want you to disidentify with your limitation and all of the things that you once believed. You have everything within you to not just succeed in this life, but to thrive, to overcome, and move to a place of knowingness. And when you know, you will have. Dolores Canon left us with this great quote, and I'll end with this. There is no lack or limitation, only that which we set for ourselves and believe for ourselves. If you identify with limitless consciousness, with infinite awareness like I do, nothing is impossible for me. And you'll be taken to places you've never dreamed of. You'll have experiences that you didn't think were possible. You'll have the most abundant health, the most abundant lifestyle, the most fulfilling relationships, because you believe it's what is you. And once you know it is yours, the universe simply and every time it can't do it any differently, will just mirror back to you that which you know and that which you believe. If today's message has resonated with you, please share it with someone else that may be needing to hear this. Please like, comment, even on the replay. That helps more people hear this. I think this message is important because I think we're in a world now that is so identified with the lack, the limitation. The moment we shift and understand who we really are beyond the illusion, beyond the physical, nothing is impossible.